Okay, let's unpack this. If you've tried to figure out what you should actually eat lately, well, you know it's enough to make your head spin, right?
Oh, absolutely. One day it's one thing, the next day something completely different.
Exactly, like go plant-based, no wait, eat only meat. Is it low fat, high fat, no carbs, all carbs? It's overwhelming, a confusing mess.
It really is. And you end up feeling, frustrated, wondering why sticking to healthy choices feels so incredibly hard, or maybe you're just doing it all wrong.
That's it, yeah. So for this deep dive, we're looking at a really interesting source. It's a conversation actually between a channel host and an AI.
Hmm.
And their whole goal was trying to cut through all that noise, all the conflicting advice, and get down to some core principles about nutrition, health, and frankly, why food sometimes feels like such a battle.
Trying to get past the fads, maybe.
Yeah.
Understand the why behind it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to pull out the key insights from that conversation. We want to help you make sense of what's really going on with your body, your food choices, why it's all so complicated.
And hopefully find a path that genuinely works for you specifically.
Right. Let's dive in. So the conversation kicks off looking at our fundamental nature, as humans when it comes to food. Are we hunters, gatherers? What's the deal?
And the source points out something really key about our biology right away. It calls humans essentially omnivorous researchers.
Researchers.
Yeah, meaning biologically speaking, there's not really any question. We are omnivores. Our digestive systems, they're built to handle both plants and meat. That's just a basic biological fact.
But then comes the human part, right? Because we're not just animals acting on instinct. We have consciousness, ethics.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The lion doesn't sit around wondering if it should eat the zebra. It just does. But we humans, we actually choose what ends up on our plate. That capacity for choice changes everything.
Yeah.
The source uses this metaphor like a traveler who can pick different paths. You go the hunter route or the gatherer route.
Yeah.
And, looking back at history, our ancestors absolutely did both.
They hunted, they gathered roots, berries, whatever they could find.
Totally. They were adaptable. So that adaptability with diet, it's kind of baked into us. We can survive on a massive range of foods.
Okay, so that adaptability leads to this tension then.
That's the core tension, yeah. You can physically eat almost anything. But the real question isn't just about surviving, is it? It's about thriving.
Right. Surviving versus thriving.
Exactly. Because eating anything and everything, especially the kind of processed stuff available today, well, it often causes problems.
Yeah.
You might survive on low-quality fuel, sure, but you're not going to reach your potential. Your body's this incredibly complex machine, and if you put junk components in, eventually things break down.
That's such a crucial distinction. Okay, so if we're adaptable and we can choose, why is it still so ridiculously hard to make those healthy choices consistently? We know what we should eat, mostly.
Yes, the million-dollar question.
But actually doing it feels like climbing a mountain sometimes.
And this is where the source really digs into that internal battle. The fight between our rational brain and our deeper, older instincts, or maybe between our ancient programming and our modern world. There are a few key reasons they highlight.
First up, those really primal instincts, I guess.
Absolutely. Think about it. For millions of years, food was scarce, unpredictable. So our brains got hardwired to seek out calories, quick pleasure, especially from sweet, fatty things.
Because that meant survival back then, quick energy.
Exactly. So even today, your brain sees a donut or a bag of chips, and it basically screams, energy, eat it now, who knows when you'll eat again. Fighting that deep-seated drive, it's tough.
Now we live in a world that's the total opposite of scarcity.
Precisely. We're bombarded. Temptation everywhere. Ads, holidays built around food, scrolling Instagram, seeing perfect meals, fast food on every corner.
It's designed to make the unhealthy choice the easy choice.
It really is. And there's a social side too, right? Do you want to be the odd one out saying no when everyone else is having pizza and cake? That fear of missing out or just being different, it's a real pressure.
And food isn't just calories for us, is it? It's tied up with so much more.
Oh, definitely. It's comfort. It's reward. It's stress relief. We use food to manage our emotions.
Yeah.
When you're stressed or sad or overwhelmed, what's the first thing to go? Often it's the healthy eating plan because your brain just craves that quick, easy dopamine hit from chocolate or whatever your comfort food is. It feels like immediate relief, even if it's temporary.
And that immediate relief feels way more appealing than maybe feeling healthier next month.
That's the delayed gratification trap. Eating healthy is like planting a seed, the source says. You put in the effort now choosing the salad, resisting the cookies, but the big rewards, better energy, stable weight, long-term health, they come much later.
Sometimes months or years later.
Exactly. But the junk food, that gives you the pleasure right now. It's the bird in the hand. And our brains are wired to value that immediate payoff much more highly.
So it's this constant conflict. Ancient brain wants instant reward, modern brain knows better, but struggles.
Yes, and modern society is constantly turning up the volume on those instant reward signals. The key takeaway here, according to the source, isn't just about needing more willpower. Yes, awareness and discipline help, but the deeper shift is in changing your actual relationship with food.
How do you mean?
Instead of seeing healthy eating as this set of restrictive rules like a prism, reframe it. See it as genuine self-care, as choosing what truly nourishes you out of respect for your body.
So it's coming from a place of choice and kindness, not force.
Exactly. When it feels like you're choosing health because you value yourself rather than just white-knuckling it, it becomes way more sustainable, maybe even joyful.
That reframing feels really important, building a different connection, not just following rules.
That's it.
Speaking of rules and confusion, let's tackle some of those common nutrition myths the source brought up, because there's just so much conflicting stuff out there.
You're right. It's easy to get lost.
Yeah.
And some old ideas just stick around, even when the science moves on. Let's hit a few big ones.
Okay, myth number 1. Eggs Bad for you. High cholesterol. Still hear that all the time.
Oh yeah, the egg fear. It lasted for decades, didn't it? People were told, limit them strictly. But our understanding has really evolved.
So the cholesterol in the egg doesn't automatically equal high cholesterol in your blood.
For most healthy people, no. It turns out dietary cholesterol doesn't impact blood cholesterol nearly as much as we once believed. Your liver actually makes most of the cholesterol your body needs.
Interesting.
And eggs themselves, they're actually nutritional powerhouses, packed with high-quality protein, vitamins, choline, which is great for your brain.
So having an egg a day is probably fine for most people.
The source suggests so, based on current research.
Yeah, moderate consumption like that is generally fine, even beneficial. Now, obviously, if you're eating 5 fried eggs with bacon and white toast every day, that's a different story.
Right, context matters.
And
but the egg itself isn't the villain.
exactly. More friend than foe, usually.
Okay, myth number 2. Detox diets. You need special cleanses to flush out toxins.
Ah, the detox craze. It sounds so appealing, doesn't it? Hit the reset button, flush everything out.
Yeah, who wouldn't want that?
But the reality, as the source points out, is your body is already an amazing detox system. Your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, even your skin, they're working nonstop, 24/7, filtering and eliminating waste.
So all those expensive juice cleanses and weird powders.
Mostly marketing. Look, if someone feels better in a detox, it's almost always because they stopped eating junk for a few days.
Right, they cut out the sugar, the booze, the fried stuff. Exactly. It's not some magic cleansing effect from the juice. It's just giving their system a break from processing garbage. The source is pretty clear. Your liver knows what it's doing. It doesn't need lemon water and cayenne pepper to clean your blood.
Huh. Okay.
And sometimes those really harsh detoxes can actually be harmful. Nutrient deficiencies, electrolyte problems, not good if you don't know what you're doing.
So the best detox is just stop putting the toxins in.
Pretty much. Let your body do its job. Simple, right?
Seems so. Okay, myth number 3. A calorie is just a calorie. It's all about calories in, calories out for weight.
Okay, this one is tricky. Because yes, energy balance calories in versus calories out is the fundamental physics of weight change. That part's true.
But
But the source really hammers this point. Just counting calories ignores the massive importance of food quality. Your body does not treat 200 calories of marshmallows the same way it treats 200 calories of broccoli or salmon.
Yeah.
Not even close.
how does that difference play out?
Well, think about it. Different foods affect your hunger levels, your hormones, your metabolism, totally differently. 100 calories of soda gives you quick energy, 0 nutrients, and a big blood sugar spike and crash.
Right. Leaves you hungry again soon.
Exactly. Whereas 100 calories of almonds gives you fiber, healthy fats, and protein.
Mhm.
It digests slower, keeps blood sugar stable, makes you feel satisfied longer.
So focusing only on the number misses the whole picture.
Completely. You could technically lose weight eating nothing but 1,200 calories of candy bars a day, but you'd feel terrible, lose muscle, be nutrient deficient. It's just not healthy.
And it ignores how different we all are too, right?
Totally. Your metabolism isn't the same as mine. Genetics, muscle mass,
Yeah.
hormones, activity level, it all plays a role. And your body adapts. If you cut calories too drastically for too long, your metabolism can actually slow down and it goes
Yeah.
into survival mode.
The dreaded plateau.
Exactly. So counting calories. It can be useful for awareness, maybe short term, to see where your calories are coming from. But reducing food to just a number, it misses the point that food is also information for your body. It sends signals,
Not just energy, but instructions. That's a really powerful way to think about it.
isn't it? Quality first, then quantity, if weight management is a specific goal.
Okay, so given all this complexity and knowing there's no single perfect food, it makes sense there are so many different dietary approaches out there: vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, keto, fruitarian. The list goes on.
It's a huge landscape, yeah. And sometimes it feels like everyone has the answer. But the source is really emphatic on this point. There is no single ideal diet for every single person on the planet.
Everyone's different.
Completely. Every approach has its potential upsides, its potential downsides, its risks. It's all about trade-offs.
Let's touch on a few that came up in the conversation, starting with, say, vegetarianism.
Okay, so no meat. Some vegetarians include dairy and eggs, lacto-ovo, others don't. The pros often cited are, higher fiber, usually more plant foods, less saturated fat, plus ethical reasons for many.
And the potential cons?
The main risks are potential nutrient deficiencies.
Yeah.
Things that are just harder to get enough of from plants alone. Like vitamin B12, that's a big one. Also iron, zinc, sometimes omega-3 fatty acids. It really requires careful planning to make sure you're getting enough complete protein and hitting those micronutrient needs.
Then, taking it a step further, veganism. No animal products at all.
Right. No meat, fish, dairy, eggs, even honey for strict vegans. The pros. Often align strongly with ethical views, can be very rich in plant nutrients, naturally low cholesterol, but the nutrient risks are higher.
B12 again.
B12 supplementation is absolutely essential for vegans, non-negotiable. You also really need to focus on getting enough vitamin D, omega-3s, often from algae supplements, and making sure your protein and iron intake is sufficient from sources like beans, lentils, tofu, nuts, seeds.
It's not automatically healthy just because it's vegan.
Exactly. The source made a funny point about how you could technically be vegan just eating french fries and ketchup. Doesn't mean it's good for you. Planning is key.
Okay, swinging to the complete opposite end, the carnivore diet.
Yeah, this one's pretty extreme. Only animal products. Meat, fish, eggs, maybe some dairy. It sounds wild, but the source mentions these anecdotal reports. People with serious autoimmune conditions or gut issues who say they've seen dramatic improvements.
How would that even work?
The theory is basically that it's the ultimate elimination diet. By removing all plants, you remove potential irritants, gluten, lectins, oxalates, phytates that might be triggering inflammation or gut problems in really sensitive people.
So it calms the system down by removing potential triggers.
That seems to be the idea. And animal foods are very nutrient-dense in protein, B vitamins, iron, zinc, but the downsides are obvious and significant. Zero fiber. We don't know the long-term effects on the gut microbiome. Very low vitamin C and other plant phytonutrients. High saturated fat and cholesterol, though, how that affects individuals varies a lot.
And probably hard to stick to socially.
It's extremely. The source kind of positions it as maybe a temporary medicinal approach for specific situations rather than a general long-term health strategy for most people.
Makes sense. What about the keto diet? That one's still really popular.
Keto is less about what foods specifically and more about the macronutrient ratio. Very low carb, usually under 50 grams, sometimes even 20 grams a day, high fat, and moderate protein. The goal is to shift your body into burning fat for fuel, producing ketones.
And the supposed benefits.
Potential for fairly quick weight loss for some, often reduced appetite because fat and protein are filling, and really good blood sugar control, which makes it powerful for type 2 diabetes. It was originally developed for epilepsy, actually. Many people also report feeling mentally sharper after they get past the initial adaptation phase.
Ah, the keto flu.
Yeah, that initial phase can be rough headaches, fatigue, nausea. It's also very restrictive. You're cutting out most fruits, grains, legumes, sweets. You need to focus on quality fats, get enough electrolytes and fiber. Potential side effects like constipation can happen. And there are still questions about long-term effects, especially hormonally for women. It's a powerful tool, no doubt, but you need to know what you're doing.
Okay, getting even more restrictive. Fruitarianism.
This is probably one of the most extreme, eating almost entirely fruit, maybe a few nuts. People who do it claim they feel light, energetic, get lots of raw vitamins.
But the risks sound high.
Extremely high, according to the source. It's incredibly unbalanced, dangerously low in protein and fat, which leads to muscle wasting and problems absorbing fat-soluble vitamins. The sheer amount of sugar, even from fruit, puts immense strain on your pancreas and liver, big risk of fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, eventually diabetes.
Wow. And your teeth probably wouldn't thank you either.
Definitely not. Dental decay is common. Plus, guaranteed deficiencies in B12, calcium, iron, without serious supplementation. The source basically says it's very extreme, very risky long-term, not a viable path for almost anyone.
Similar idea, but broader. The raw food diet.
Right. Only uncooked foods, mostly plants. The idea is you preserve all the enzymes and heat-sensitive vitamins. You feel clean, you automatically cut out processed junk.
But cooking isn't always bad nutritionally.
Exactly. Some nutrients, like lycopene in tomatoes or beta-carotene in carrots, are actually more available to your body when cooked. And all that raw fiber can be really tough on some people's digestion. Getting enough protein can be a challenge. B12 is still an issue. It's hard to sustain, especially if you live somewhere cold.
So maybe okay for a short-term thing, but not ideal long-term.
That's kind of the vibe from the source. Maybe a temporary reboot for some, but needs careful planning and probably isn't optimal for most people permanently.
And they also mentioned diets like Mediterranean and paleo, which are more established.
Yeah, the Mediterranean diet, lots of veggies, fruits, olive oil, fish, nuts, whole grains, is consistently linked to great long-term health outcomes in studies. Paleo cuts out grains, dairy, legumes, processed foods, which can be really helpful for people with specific intolerances or sensitivities to those things.
So the big takeaway across all these diets seems to be individuality.
Absolutely. Find your path. There's no single dogma that fits everyone. The source really pushes listening to your body. How does food make you feel? Maybe do some testing if you suspect issues. Experiment carefully.
Take the good principles from different places.
Yeah. Focus on whole foods, enough protein, healthy fats, lots of veggies, cut the junk. But build a system that works for your life, your body.
Right.
Avoid that dietary fundamentalism where you think your way is the only way. Find your balance.
It really does come back to self-awareness and listening. You mentioned something earlier that I find fascinating, these stories of people having almost miraculous healings, like autoimmune diseases going into remission on really extreme diets or from fasting. How does that even happen? It sounds, well, hard to believe sometimes.
It does sound incredible, doesn't it? Like magic. But the source explains it not as magic, but as tapping into the body's own, often underestimated power for self-repair.
Which gets suppressed normally.
Often, yeah. Our bodies are constantly trying to heal, regenerate, fight off invaders, fix damage at a cellular level. But if we're constantly flooding the system with inflammatory foods, stress hormones, toxins, never giving it a break, those healing mechanisms can just get overwhelmed.
So the extreme diets or fasting act like a radical intervention.
Kind of like hitting a massive reset button, or maybe like radical weeding, as the source put it. Take a strict raw vegan diet for someone with, say, severe rheumatoid arthritis. They suddenly eliminate all processed sugar, trans fats, additives, common allergens like gluten and dairy. That's a huge inflammatory load lifted.
And they're flooding their system with plant nutrients.
Right. Anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, vitamins. For some people, the trigger for their chronic inflammation might have been something in their old diet. Remove the trigger, give the body the right conditions, and the immune system can calm down, allowing those inherent repair processes to finally work. The source mentioned documented cases of remission, not necessarily a cure, but a stopping of the disease process through these kinds of very strict protocols. It wasn't the plants being magic, it was the removal of the irritants.
Okay, but how does that explain the carnivore diet potentially helping some people? That's the total opposite.
It seems paradoxical, but the underlying principle can be similar. Extreme elimination. By eating only animal products, you're removing every single potential plant compound that might be irritating a hypersensitive gut or immune system, Lectins, oxalates, phytates, salicylates, you name it.
So for someone with severe gut issues or multiple sensitivities,
Removing everything else provides this radical rest. It might allow the gut lining to heal, calm down systemic inflammation. Again, the source suggests it's likely more about the removal of the plant irritants for those specific individuals, not necessarily that meat itself is the cure-all. It's a powerful tool for investigation in specific cases, but not a universal recommendation. And long-term data is sparse.
and fasting, taking away all food, what's happening then?
That's when the body really turns inward for maintenance. The key process here is autophagy, literally means self-eating. There was a Nobel Prize for research on this in 2016.
Self-eating. Sounds intense.
It is, but in a good way. When cells don't get external fuel, they start breaking down their own old, damaged parts, misfolded proteins, worn-out organelles, cellular junk. They recycle the components or burn them for energy. It's like a deep cellular spring cleaning. Makes the cells more efficient and resilient.
Tidying up from the inside out.
Exactly. And longer fasts, say 3 to 5 days, can trigger even deeper stuff, like stimulating the production of new stem cells and giving the immune system a major reboot, clearing out old, less effective immune cells and generating fresh ones. It's like cellular regeneration.
And this links back to that idea of hormesis you mentioned.
Precisely. Hormesis is this principle where a small, controlled amount of stress, like temporary hunger, actually makes a system stronger. It activates these protective and repair pathways that just lie dormant when everything's easy and food is constant.
Our ancestors probably experienced this naturally.
For sure. Periods of feast and famine were normal. Modern life, with constant food availability, means we rarely engage these deep cleaning mechanisms. Fasting is a way to deliberately introduce that beneficial stress.
What about growth hormone during fasting?
Yeah, interestingly, growth hormone levels tend to go up during fasting, especially shorter fasts. This helps preserve muscle mass while you're burning fat, and it also stimulates repair processes. Plus, fasting dramatically improves insulin sensitivity. Cells become much better at listening to insulin after a fast, which is great for metabolic health.
People worry about feeling weak or foggy during a fast, though.
It's a common fear. And yes, there can be an adaptation period, maybe some initial discomfort, but the source highlights that many people, after the first day or so, actually report increased mental clarity, focus, even better mood.
Why would that be?
Partly because the brain runs very efficiently on ketones, which are produced during fasting. And evolutionarily, it makes sense. A hungry animal needs to be sharp and energetic to find its next meal, not lethargic.
So the instinct is to sharpen up, not shut down.
Exactly. Obviously, listen to your body. Extended fasting isn't for everyone and might need guidance, but for generally healthy people, short periods without food are not only safe, but can unlock these powerful internal renewal processes.
Can you get some of these benefits without doing like a full 5-day water fast?
Yes, definitely. The source talks about several ways to promote cellular health and trigger some of these cleaning mechanisms without complete food restriction.
Exercise came up earlier.
Right. Intense exercise, especially endurance or strength training, acts as that local hormetic stress. It specifically triggers autophagy in the muscles you're working, helping them repair and adapt. So regular exercise is huge for cellular maintenance.
What about heat and cold? Saunas? Cold plunges?
Those are also forms of hormetic stress. They activate various protective systems in the body, improve resilience, and there's growing evidence they might stimulate some autophagy too.
And keto or low-carb diets? Do they mimic fasting?
They mimic some aspects. Being in ketosis means low insulin, reduced inflammation, and your brain using ketones similar to fasting. It gives many metabolic benefits. It probably doesn't trigger the same deep systemic autophagy as a complete fast because you're still taking in calories, but it's definitely moving in a similar direction.
What about the fasting mimicking diet?
That's a specific researched protocol, usually 5 days, very low calorie, with a specific macro composition designed to trick the body into activating fasting pathways like autophagy, while still providing some minimal nutrients. It can be easier for some people to tolerate than a full water fast.
And are there specific foods or compounds that help?
There's research looking into things like resveratrol from grapes, curcumin from turmeric, oleocanthal from extra virgin olive oil, even caffeine from coffee. These might help stimulate autophagy pathways, but the source suggests they're likely more supplementary nice additions rather than being able to fully replicate the effects of actual fasting.
So while nothing might fully replace a proper fast for that deep clean, you can still support cellular health significantly through regular exercise, maybe some temperature stress, smart eating patterns like intermittent fasting or low-carb cycles, and choosing nutrient-dense foods.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to incorporate these beneficial pauses and challenges for your body, rather than just being in constant on or intake mode.
Okay, just briefly, because the source mentioned it, those really extreme claims, like people saying they live on prana or sunlight, no food or water at all. What's the scientific take on that?
Scientifically, it's not supported. The source is very clear. From a physiological standpoint, long-term survival without any food or water intake isn't possible for humans. Attempts have tragically led to death from starvation and dehydration. Our bodies fundamentally require energy and hydration.
So no verified cases.
None that stand up to scientific scrutiny. There might be philosophical angles, discussions about extreme metabolic states, but biologically it doesn't hold water. Any cases usually involve deception or misunderstanding. The source strongly advises against anyone ever attempting such a thing. It's incredibly dangerous.
But maybe it serves as a kind of extreme metaphor.
Perhaps. The source hints at that maybe the idea isn't literal non-eating, but more about detachment from the constant cycle of overconsumption and craving that often dominates modern life. A reminder, perhaps, that we often consume far more than we strictly need.
Okay, let's shift to something everyone deals with. Water. We hear that drink 2-3 liters a day rule all the time. Is that really necessary?
Water is crucial, obviously. But that specific number, 2-3 liters, is just a very general estimate. It often comes from calculations like 30 milliliters per kilograms of body weight, but our individual needs vary hugely depending on activity, climate, diet.
So we don't need to force down water if we're not thirsty just to hit a number.
Generally, no. For most healthy people, your thirst mechanism is actually a pretty reliable guide. The source even mentions that, although it's rare, drinking too much water can be dangerous. It can dilute your electrolytes, leading to hyponatremia, low sodium, which is serious.
That usually only happens in extreme situations, though, right?
Yeah, like endurance athletes drinking gallons of plain water without replacing salts. But the point is, thirst is usually enough.
So practical advice for staying hydrated.
Listen to your body. Check your urine color. Pale yellow is usually a good sign. Darker means drink more. Totally clear might mean you're overdoing it slightly. Drink when you wake up. Keep water handy. Drink more if it's hot, if you're exercising, if you eat salty food. And remember, water in food counts too. Soups, fruits, veggies. It's about responding to your needs, not blindly following a number.
Makes sense. Okay, last specific item. Coffee. Good, bad, poison, or medicine?
Well, coffee. The source definitely leans towards, it depends on the dose of the person. Coffee contains caffeine, a stimulant. In moderation, often seen as 1 to 2, maybe 3 cups a day for most classicals. It can have real benefits.
Like
Increased alertness, better focus, mood lift, improved physical performance before a workout. It's also packed with antioxidants, and studies have linked moderate coffee consumption to lower risks of things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, even some cancers.
But it's not all good news for everyone.
Definitely not. Because it's a stimulant, it can cause problems for people with high blood pressure, anxiety, or heart palpitations. It can irritate the stomach lining for some. And drinking it too late in the day can wreck your sleep. Plus, you can become dependent and get withdrawal headaches if you stop suddenly.
So again, it's listen to your body.
Absolutely critical. Genetics actually play a role in how fast you metabolize caffeine. Some people can have an espresso after dinner and sleep fine. Others get jittery from 1 cup in the morning. And a crucial point the source makes, if you're loading your coffee with sugar, syrups, tons of cream, it becomes a dessert. You lose the potential health benefits.
So black coffee, in moderation if it suits you,
Yeah.
generally okay, maybe even good.
That seems to be the consensus from the source, yes. If it makes you feel bad, don't drink it. Green tea or mate are gentler options with their own benefits.
Wow, okay. We have covered so much ground here, from our basic biology through all the diet wars, the myths, the science of fasting and healing. If we try to bring it all together, what's the core message for someone just trying to figure out how to eat for energy and health?
I think the most powerful overarching message from the source is really about shifting your perspective. To start seeing eating as a fundamental act of self-care, of
We're
self-respect.
just putting fuel in the tank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The plate can be your pharmacy, your energy source, even a form of meditation if you approach it mindfully.
Mhm.
The core principles that emerge are pretty consistent. Focus on real, whole, nutrient-dense foods.
What?
Prioritize quality protein at meals. Load up on non-starchy vegetables, lots of colors. Include healthy fats, but be mindful of amounts. Choose complex carbs based on your own energy needs. And be really intentional about minimizing the processed stuff, the added sugar. Oh, and drink water.
It's not just what you eat, right? The how matters too.
Hugely important. Eat mindfully. Slow down. Chew your food. Pay attention. Don't eat when you're stressed or rushed. It messes with digestion and satisfaction. And try to let go of the guilt around food. It shouldn't be this constant battle. Build a relationship with food as an ally, not an enemy.
And that thread connecting everything seems to be listen to your body.
It's the ultimate guide. Your body gives you constant feedback. You just have to learn its language. How does this meal make you feel an hour later? Energized, sluggish, bloated? Do you get cravings after eating certain things? Tuning into those signals is absolutely key to finding what works uniquely for you.
Which implies not getting stuck in one rigid dogma.
Exactly. Experiment, be curious, but avoid fanaticism. No single diet holds all the answers for everyone all the time. The source suggests aiming for, say, 80% consistency with nutrient-dense foods and allowing 20% for flexibility, enjoyment, social life. That's often way more sustainable and healthier overall than a 100% rigid approach that inevitably leads to feeling deprived and falling off the wagon.
Working with our natural rhythms also seemed important.
Yes. Eating mostly during the day, giving your digestive system a solid break overnight by not eating too late. That aligns with our natural circadian rhythms and benefits. Hormones, sleep, and digestion.
And remembering that nourishment isn't just physical.
Such a great point. True well-being comes from more than just food. Social connection, creativity, learning, nature. These things nourish us too. Sometimes that feeling of hunger might actually be boredom or loneliness or a need for something other than food.
That final perspective shift you mentioned feels like where it all leads.
I think so. Instead of seeing healthy eating through a lens of restriction, I can't have that, I have to avoid this. Flip it. Frame it as abundance and empowerment. Look at all these amazing, delicious, nourishing foods I get to eat that make my body feel fantastic.
It puts you in the driver's seat.
Completely. You're choosing well-being, not fighting deprivation. And when that shift really clicks,
Food stops being the enemy.
it stops being the problem. It becomes your partner. And your body usually responds with better energy, more stable moods, clearer thinking, easier weight management. You reach that resource state more often.
That's a really positive and empowering way to think about it.
It is. The source ends with this beautiful wish, really, that each of us finds our own unique harmony with food. Not through rigid rules or negligence, but with self-love, awareness, and gratitude. And to see the whole process, not as a chore, but as this fascinating journey of discovery about your own body.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've navigated a lot of complex, territory-busting myths, exploring diets from vegan to carnivore, understanding the science behind healing and fasting, and tackling everyday questions about coffee and water.
It really highlights how personal yet how universally important our relationship with food is.
And that core message comes through so clearly. It's about individuality, listening to your body, approaching food with kindness and awareness, and finding your balance rather than chasing someone else's extreme.
Find what helps you thrive, not just survive, but thrive.
So as you listening move forward from our conversation today, maybe consider this. This journey of understanding your own unique needs, it's really just beginning. What's one simple, mindful step you could take today, just one thing, to listen a little more closely to what your body might be trying to tell you?
Yeah. What's one small choice you could make? Not because you have to, but just as an act of kindness and respect for yourself and your health.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep listening.